Good evening, everyone. Today, me and Lakshay are going to present a paper which is on aspects of economy of the eastern and southeastern parts of the Indian subcontinent, a case study of Imitation-Kushan coins. The aim of this study is to firstly present a comprehensive analysis of Imitation-Kushan coins based on iconography, metrology, and technique of make. Secondly, to analyze the prevalence of these coins in the context of the economy of the Kushans as well as the regions where they have been found. It has been observed that the research done on imitation Kushan coins so far has been region specific in nature, and by regions I mean the present understanding of the political boundaries of states and not of the historical boundaries of the region, which is a serious limiting factor in our understanding of the wider implications of the presence of Imperial Kushan coins as well as imitation Kushan coins in the region. And this is the issue that this paper aims to address. So, numismatics, as we all know, has been defined as the study of coins, tokens, medals, paper money, and objects closely resembling them in form or purpose, including standard media of exchange and decorations. Before we begin with a discussion on imitation Kushan coins, it is important to keep the following points in mind regarding the nature of coins and coins as primary sources. So, firstly, a coin can be defined as a piece of metal with a standard weight, backed up by an authority and largely accepted by people. This point is important, backed up by an authority and largely accepted by people. They are contemporary sources. As primary sources, they have a dual nature. Firstly, they function as archaeological artifacts, and secondly, in most cases, as historical documents too, as many of them have inscriptions on them. Therefore, they are often used as chronological markers as well as an evidence to determine the area of influence of the issuing authority or state. Coins are a very dynamic source, and a systematic study of the interplay of text, image, and materiality of coins can provide valuable insights to understand the socio-economic and political processes as well as behaviors of a given society. Moving on to imitative coinage, as the name suggests, these are copies or imitations of original coins. Unlike the non imitative coins, these are usually not backed up by the state. So basically, the issuer of the imitative coins does his best to avoid differentiating his own products from those of his model, as he hopes to benefit by having one confused with the other. Apart from that, there can be many other reasons for the issuing of imitative coins, like a paucity of original coins, as has been the case for Kushan coins in the eastern and southeastern parts of the Indian subcontinent. Imitative coins are usually cast, which helps to differentiate them from non imitative or model coins. And a very good example of the same are the imitative Kushan coins, which, unlike the imitation Kushan coins, which were die struck, were cast. And they are known as imitation-Kushan coins because they derive their iconography from the standing king figure type of coins of the Imperial Kushans. So now I'll give you a brief overview of the Kushan Empire. As you all know, the Kushan Empire was established by Kujalagit Vices somewhere around mid-1st century CE. It covered parts of Central Asia and South Asia, and at its peak, it covered parts of Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan in the northwest to Xinjiang province of China in the northeast, as well as parts of the mid-Gangetic plains in the Indian subcontinent. As you can see in the map, a number of important trade routes passed right through the Kushan territory. One of the main tasks of the Kushan administration was to control and regulate trade. The Silk Route was an important trade route which passed right through the Kushan territories along with the Uttar Path, as has been depicted by the red lines in the previous map. Likewise, their presence in the maritime trade with the Mediterranean world via the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea has also been attested to by both archaeological and literary evidence. The Kushan rulers, starting right from Kujalagit Vices, issued a number of coins in both gold, copper, and silver to a lesser extent, which were based on the reduced Attic standard. Now, these coins circulated well beyond the Kushan territory into the region which is known as Kalinga to the east. Now, the boundaries of the historical region of Kalinga varied from time to time. At its peak, it covered the region from the river Ganga in the northeast to River Godavari in the south, the entire coastline, and the hinterland. Three geographical factors have contributed in making this region economically significant. Firstly, it is characterized by coastal geography with delta formations. The coastline also has spits and bars which provide natural breakwaters and are conducive for the development of ports. Secondly, the region is well irrigated and fertile, supporting agriculture owing to the presence of a large number of rivers and the tributaries like Mahanadi, Brahmani, Kansai, Vamsadhara, Vetrani, among others. Many of these rivers are navigable, also facilitating trade. Besides, it has also got a rich hinterland in the form of thick forest covers and hills, which provide natural resources.
Beginning from the mid-19th century and till date, Puri-Kushan coins have been found in ample amounts in a number of districts and states, which include present-day Orissa, Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Jharkhand, among others, along the eastern coast of the Indian subcontinent, and even in Bangladesh. In present-day country of Bangladesh, these coins have been found in Rajshahi and Komila regions, as they are visible in the given map. A good quantity of gold and silver coins belonging to Kushan rulers from Kujula Catphysis to Vasudeva I have been recovered from these regions. In West Bengal, Puri-Kushan coins have been found in several districts of Midnapur, Birbhum, Burdwan, Purulia, and Bankura along the Imperial Kushan coins. One such coin yielding site is Tamluk. This site has been identified as the ancient city of Tamralipta, which worked as the eastern terminus of the Uttarpath. Now coming to Orissa, first hoards were found by Walter in 1858 in Ganjam district of Orissa, and since then, many sites have yielded hoards of Kushan and Puri-Kushan coins, including Cuttack, Puri, Bhadrak, Balasore, Mayurbhanj, Ganjam, Kyojhar, Jajpur, and Kendrapal. Littoral regions and cities of Orissa like Sisupalgarh, Radhanagar, and Manikapatna have been also the sources for the imitation coins. In Andhra Pradesh, the site Salihunnam, which is 7 kilometers from Kalinga acted as a port, which served as a beacon for ships anchoring at Kalinga and thus has yielded Kushan and Puri-Kushan coins. Also, the Rakha Hills in Singhbhum district of Jharkhand have yielded Puri-Kushan coins, which are close to Rakha mines, which is a source of copper. Stratigraphically, they occur after cast copper coins, which date back to 3rd century CE. These coins have been found as stray finds and in archaeological context in form of hoards, as 281 pieces of these coins were found near Purulia and 3 lots of coins weighing 28 to 29 kg were recovered from a pond from Tilwani in Bankura district of West Bengal. These coins were often found along with the Imperial Kushan coins. The hoards were either discovered accidentally, like in Tilwani, or during excavations like in Sisupalgarh. The term Puri-Kushan coin was termed in 19th century for the Imitation-Kushan coins, as the earliest samples being found in Puri district resembled the Kushan coins in iconographic aspect, and were thus named as Puri-Kushan coins. Other names like Kushan have also been adopted when they were found in Orissa. However, both these names were misleading given the geographical extent of the prevalence of this coin. Finally, it was termed as Imitation-Kushan coin. Now, the Imitation-Kushan coins discovered are mostly made up of copper, which was main constituent element of the coins, used as much as more than 80% of the total, and rest of elements being bismuth, titanium, zinc, iron, and nickel. Now, the technique of making of these coins. There were at least 2 methods of manufacturing coins prevalent in Kushan period. In modern terminology, they are respectively called die striking, casting, and droplet technique. These are 2 different techniques. Now, the die striking technique, as said by Dr. Charles Edelman, a craftsman would carve and design on a thick disc of bronze. This was the observed die, which fitted into a pit sunk in the top face of an anvil. On the lower end of a square-faced bronze punch The man next carved another design. This was the reverse design. About the technique of striking coins from dies, nothing can be learnt from the dies themselves, because not a single die of ancient India coins has come to light so far. The cast coins were manufactured by passing molten metal into molds of clay or metal. The molds of casting of coins were made of burnt clay or of hard metal. Only one metal mold of bronze has been discovered from Iran, though clay molds have been found in a fairly large number from several sites. Instead of punching several symbols of separate dies, a single model was prepared where all the symbols were put together. From this model, molds were then made and molten metal was poured into them to cast coins. Now another technique being droplet technique. This technique was employed, and in this metal or specified weight in semi-molten state was dropped and then the die was struck. However, Imitation-Kushan coins were made in a clay cast as it was easier to counterfeit. Main characteristic features is the protruding edges, which indicate that these were crudely cast using clay molds, imitating the large Kushan tetradrachm of Kanishk. Their weights ranging from 4.7 to 7.6 grams and diameter have been between 18 to 25 millimeters. These coins were built on the local Sherpan standard in Bengal. The coins were based on the silver Sherpan standard of 57.6 grains and not based on the copper Sherpan standard of 80 ratis or 144 grains. Using of silver Sherpan standard to make copper coins is quite peculiar to Bengal. Besides, different weights were used to struck copper coins like 1.5 Sherpan, 3/4 Sherpan and 1/4 Sherpan, which varied from 72 grains to 9 grains in the weight. Imperial Kushan coins were made out of gold, silver and even copper. They had Greek coin design and standards of weights. However, Imitation-Kushan coins from Orissa and Andhra Pradesh followed the Kushan tetradrachm standard based on the reduced Attic. The basic iconography of Imitation-Kushan coins is based on the simplistic figural representation which resembles the standing king type of the Imperial coinage by Vima Catphysis and was later continued to be used by his successors. Majority of the Imitation-Kushan coins were uninscribed. As it can be seen in the figure 5 and figure 6, coins have a figural representation of human posture standing with the crescent moon on right. Coins have standing human figure on both the obverse and reverse sides with crescent on one side. Hands can be seen in different positions on analyzing various coins. However, the physiological features are not very well defined. The human figure with the crescent moon is believed to be the moon god Mao, and without crescent on the obverse is said to be represent king. It is interesting to note that no other deity apart from the moon god has been found on the Imitation-Kushan coins, whereas imperial coins represented Iranian, Babylonian, Greek and Indian gods too. Coins have also been classified into 5 types, which are based on the presence and position of the crescent. Now, on basis of inscriptions, they are divided into uninscribed coins, which belong to 3rd to 4th century CE, and inscribed coins, which date back to 5th to 6th century CE. The former has been found more profoundly as compared to latter. Balaso hoard yielded inscribed coins which had inscriptions in Brahmi, as it can be seen in figure 8. Figure 7, however, belonged to an inscribed variety, which makes it clear that these were from earlier types of Imitation-Kushan coins in circulation in Orissa and adjacent areas in 3rd to 4th century CE. There is also a big difference of opinion and contradictions in the period of prevalence and use of these coins. Some assign the period of circulation of these coins up to 7th century CE. However, on basis of paleographic and stratigraphical evidence of coins found at Sisupalgarh, they have now been given a date line of 5th to 6th century CE. Nonetheless, given wide extent of their circulation, it is still possible that they were in circulation until 7th century CE in some regions. Now I would like Elena to continue.
Let us now look at what all can be inferred from the points presented so far. So, firstly, coins serve to link the different structures of the society and the individual agency of the people, as their use mostly involves all the levels of the society. To be accepted, they must evoke feelings of trust and reliability. Also, they function as markers of individual and collective identity. As the result of all these factors, many early scholars like R.D. Banerjee have used the prevalence of these coins to suggest the political control of Kushans in the regions. However, no other evidence, archaeological or literary, supports this assertion. Therefore, it has been suggested that the coins reached here via trade and commerce. The quantity, choice of metal, standard, and technique of make of these coins suggest that they were used to carry out local economic transactions. They have not been found in any particular ritualistic context near a temple or any other religious structure. Plus, copper coins, unlike gold or silver coins, are usually smaller denomination coins. They were crudely cast, and the standard also shows a lot of local influence. Now, if we look at the regional economy of the Kalinga region, we find evidence of urbanization and monetization since early historic period. There were several important ports and cities in the region, which included Sisupalgarh, Tamluk, Radhanagar, Manikapatna, Kalingapatnam, among many others. The ancient Kalinga region was quite active in the long distance trade with both the Mediterranean world as well as Southeast Asia. This has been corroborated by both archaeological and literary evidence. Archaeological evidence includes Roman gold coins, amphorae, lamps, bullae, and rollated ware. The literary evidence includes Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, which mentions Dosarene as famous for its ivory exports, and Dosarene was the ancient region of Kaling. We also have evidence of the existence of an extensive network of overland trade routes in the Indian subcontinent, connecting major ports and cities to the mid-Gangetic plains. As we have already seen, the Kushans controlled about 60 to 80% of the Uttar Path at when the empire was at its peak. Now, two major routes connected the mid-Gangetic plains to the Kaling region. The first one was from Varanasi through Jharkhand to Mayurbhanj and Keonjhar regions of Orissa. And secondly, the second one was through Dakshin Koshal, which is in present day state of Chhattisgarh. Another network of trade routes connected Shishupalgarh to Vidish and Ujjain in central India, while on the coast, the ports of Champa and Tamaralipti in north were connected to Kaviripatnam and Arigamedu in the south. Unlike the Imperial Kushan coins, which were issued by the Kushan kings, the authority which issued Imitation-Kushan coins remains unclear. They could have been merchant guilds or even local chieftains. Therefore, while the Imperial Kushan coins may have facilitated the long distance trade or inter-regional transactions as they were authorized by the Kushan state, the imitation Kushan coins were possibly used for local transaction, bridging the gap between the economies of the hinterland and the ports. Thus, on the basis of this numismatic evidence, we can say that the Kushans maintained contacts with the Roman and southeastern worlds not only via the Silk Route in the north and western littoral region, but also used the eastern coastline to participate in the international maritime trade. The findings of these coins not only shed light on the economic relations that the Kushans had with their neighboring states, but it can also be used to understand the dynamics of core periphery relationship. They can also be used to study the process of material culture hybridization and how the material culture of the Kushan sort of traveled to the east and got adopted to the local needs and requirements, as well as the environment. Furthermore, it can be used to assess how much the presence of Kushans was felt outside the regions which did not fall under their political boundaries, and how much economic sway did they have in these regions. So, as has been shown by the large quantity of coins found, the Kushans did have quite a strong hold in the region, economic and not political. Besides, the scope of studying these coins further is quite vast, as unlike the imperial Kushan coins, they remain considerably understudied. Moreover, Kushan trade relations with the eastern and southeastern parts of the Indian subcontinent, as well as their maritime contacts with Southeast Asia, also remain understudied. Recent archaeological excavations undertaken in the eastern littoral region have thrown light on the thriving urban economy, but there is a need to integrate these findings with the rest of the regions and the meta narrative of the Kushans. Thank you. Here is the selected bibliography for your reference.